The next section of our day today is nutrition, friends. Why do we need to eat right? First and foremost, you are what you eat. So, number one, friends, is health. It's about health. It's about how you feel. It's about your energy level. It's been proven that high sugar consumption affects your level of motivation. After you eat a big chocolate bar or indulge in sweets, your motivation drops and also health in the long term. Because right now, it's clear when you were young, when you were 20, 30, even 40 years old, you don't really feel it. But later on, it all adds up like a cumulative effect. So, number one is health. Number two is your body, how you look. And this nutrition will play a huge role. And number three is your fitness goals. If you want to lose weight, you have one type of diet. If you want to gain weight, you have a different type of diet. If you want to maintain the weight you have, that's a third type of diet. So these are the three main goals I've identified. Friends, nutrition and training definitely go hand in hand. That's why we set up a system for training and add to it a system for our nutrition. Because if, for example, your goal right now is also to lose weight, to shed extra kilos during this course, or on the contrary, to gain weight, then listen, nutrition will be a super important factor in achieving this goal. So let's break down what and how you should do things depending on your goal, gaining or cutting. A super simple guide. Let's go. All right, friends, we figured out why we need nutrition. Now, let's figure out what we need to do. If our goal, for example, is cutting, bulking, or simply maintaining weight, what's the first thing we need to understand? What is it? Everything eat is the calories we take in. And everything we do, training, and all our daily activities are the calories we burn. Accordingly, if our goal is to lose weight, then we need to eat fewer calories than we burn. Then the calories that the body lacks for activity will be taken from our fat and we will lose weight. Similarly, if our goal is to gain weight, then we need to eat more calories than we burn. Because when there is this surplus, the difference between what we eat and what we burn, it will be used to make us bigger to increase our muscle volume. But all of this is on the condition that we are working out. So if our goal is cutting, our guideline is 3 meals a day with a focus on protein and greens. That is, this could be omelets, fish, poultry like turkey or chicken. It could be cottage cheese and then greens, various salads. All of this can be combined together. We can also include complex carbohydrates here, such as whole grain bread, grains, porridge, buckwheat, and so on. But our main focus is on protein and greens. And in addition, we cut out sugar, pastries, and fatty foods. That means things like fat pilaf, greasy fast food, and so on. If your goal is cutting and you apply these basic principles, you will definitely see progress in losing weight and getting rid of excess fat. Next, if our goal is to gain mass, then we have 3 to 4 meals a day focusing on protein and carbohydrates. You can notice that protein is present in every meal. It doesn't matter what we're trying to achieve, because protein is the most important building block for both muscles and our entire body. That's why protein is always included. But the difference here is that we don't consume large amounts of carbohydrates, grains, bread, and so on, which provide us with a lot of energy and in fact are the main source of the extra calories we need to gain muscle mass. In this case, when cutting, we don't need them. So we exclude them. Here, on the contrary, we focus on them. That is protein and carbohydrates. So, focusing on protein and carbohydrates means that, for example, if we have 4 meals a day, 3 of them will include both protein and carbohydrates. When cutting, if our focus is on protein and greens, then it might be 2 meals consisting of protein and salads and 1 meal where we can include carbohydrates. Once the basic principles are clear, friends, it's time to talk about the system, because the system is much more important than even understanding the details. Because again, you can figure out the details. You can stress over counting calories and all that, but you might just barely make it through 21 days and then end up giving it all up again. But if you implement a system for the basic principles, you'll be able to go much further than with super complicated calorie calculations and all that. But at the same time, you won't learn how to implement a system for, in our case, nutrition. So what does a system look like? First of all, once again, the same questions. What you need to figure out what your breakfast, lunch, and dinner will look like. Roughly estimate what it will be, which foods you'll need, buy those foods, put them in the fridge, and that's it. You know, when dinner time comes, you don't have to come up with something on the spot. You don't rush off to fast food. You've already planned what you'll have for dinner. For example, it could be fish and certain vegetables, or chicken and certain vegetables, or maybe an omelet and certain vegetables, or 2 boiled eggs and a particular salad. You've already bought everything. You have it all stocked up, and you don't have to worry. That's how I do it. I buy groceries in advance. I know which foods I use for breakfast, then what I'll have for lunch and dinner, and what I'll have for my snack, my fourth meal. I plan out all these meals. I buy groceries for the week, and I don't worry about it. Everything happens for me at the time it's supposed to happen, and I eat what I need to eat in order to reach my goals. This is the first element of the what system. And next, the second element of the system is when this is a very important point, because why can't people lose weight? Because instead of 3 meals focused on protein and greens as they originally had in their system, for example, right, they add a 4th meal, which they made up for themselves in the evening before bed, where they start loading up on everything, pistachios, a piece of cookie, and this and that, and so on, and this /6.8, where the calorie overload begins. The person loses control and nothing works out in terms of cutting, and the same goes for gaining muscle mass. You had 3 or 4 meals focused on protein and carbohydrates, but instead of starting your meal at 7 a.m., you started at 10 a.m., skipped 7, then had another at 3 o'clock p.m., and then at 9 p.m. It's unclear where to fit in the 4th meal. You didn't consume the calories needed to gain muscle mass accordingly. You won't achieve your goal. That's why having a system at the first level is much more important than getting caught up in detailed calculations or worrying about whether you should drink tea with sugar or not. So, when we record when these 3 meals take place, for example, they happen at 7 o'clock in the morning, 12 o'clock noon, and 6 o'clock in the evening. So that's a cutting phase. We set 3 meals, 7 o'clock, 12 o'clock, and 5 o'clock, for example. And we start working according to this plan. We don't invent extra meals. We give the body a chance to get used to this routine and stop demanding additional meals from you at 9 or 10 o'clock. You will teach it one routine and it will follow it, because our body is a creature of habit. It wants structure. It wants a specific, strict schedule. But in order for it to get used to it, you need time and a system that you follow without question. The same approach applies when gaining muscle mass. We don't skip the set times, we stick to the schedule. For example, right now I am gaining muscle mass, and for me it's 7 o'clock, 11 o'clock, 3:00, and 7 o'clock in the evening. 4 meals are scheduled, and that's it. The alarm goes off, and I have that meal. If I don't have it and skip it for 2 hours, the whole schedule shifts and I don't meet my calorie goals. That's why, friends, having a system is the most important thing. Later on, if you want, you can dig deeper, get into the details, and so on. In this course, we learn to see the system and patterns in everything we do so that it affects not only our physical condition, but our whole life in general. That's why, friends, this is how we incorporate a nutrition system into our lives. If your goal is neither to gain nor to lose weight, then you just take the average approach, the middle ground between the two. It's that simple. Today, friends, we covered workouts and nutrition. What we do in each area depending on our goals, why we do it, and how we can implement a system both in our workouts and nutrition to start seeing positive results consistently. And most importantly, right now, we are learning to use a system for the most basic things, for workouts and for nutrition. But in 21 days, we will develop this system so much that it will encompass our entire life. And that's where all the power lies, friends. We don't move forward until we've completed the assignments for workouts and nutrition. Record everything, set alarms, set reminders. And friends, starting today from tomorrow, we begin living by the system in these 2 areas and keep developing it further. Thank you so much for watching, friends. Be sure to share your impressions of this first day in the comments. Let's work. Let's build the system. See you tomorrow on day 2.